Hey humans, it's Hannah. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it's your first time. This is actually going to be a requested video by one of my subscribers who I believe your name is Rocio Ponce, and I'm really sorry if I said your name wrong. But thank you very much for the request. If anyone else has requests for videos, please let me know. I really want to make content that you guys want to see, and it helps when I get requests directly from my viewers. So let me know and I will try to make it. So this is another weird TikTok account, and it goes by the name I'm Into You. The girl who owns this account, her name is Amber Woodworth, and she lives in this house that was made in the late 1800s in Warrensburg, Illinois. The backstory is that she grew up there and she had always had paranormal experiences. Her whole family did when they lived there when she was a kid. She moved away for a long time and she most recently moved back, we believe, for financial reasons. Her dad travels for work a lot, and so she pretty much lives alone there. Amber's account starts off really normal. She's just doing the TikTok dances and other TikTok trends that you see, and then she starts posting videos about orbs is kind of how it starts, that she's seen in her house. Let's look at some of the good clips of the orbs that she got in some of her TikTok videos.
Are these orbs? Like, they're constantly around me here. So I slow-moed this one, but I literally said, if you want to talk, come to the light of the camera, and it came right to the camera.
To me, orbs are really bad paranormal proof, just because almost always they're really explainable. People can recreate them using dust and other particles all the time. They usually are bugs flying in front of the screen or just dust particles you see in front of the camera that you don't see when you're filming and then they show up later. Sometimes you see them when they are filming. So orbs are just really not convincing proof for me personally. But don't worry, because as the story goes on, there is a lot of other things that we see and we can talk about. She shows first a clip and she's just talking, and you see in the lower right-hand corner, if you watch the video, her hair looks like it's being messed with and moved on its own. I'll show the clip here.
Okay, before I say what literally just happened, first of all, I look like I know. I've been up cleaning and I didn't sleep last night. I pulled an all-nighter. I had insomnia. I don't know why. Probably because I saw my very first orb in person.
And that, I mean, I don't know what that is. It does seem like it's moving. It doesn't really look like the wind because it kind of is being lifted up. So I'm sure you could come up with an explanation for that, but I'm not sure what that would be. That one was interesting. Then she has a clip of her hearing creaking on the stairs as she's in her bedroom, and she says the cats are outside and she lives alone, so it couldn't be anybody else. And in the video, you can hear the creaking. So that's also, unless she set up another person to do that, that one's also, she does sound pretty freaked out in the video. Then she starts using the reality ripple effect, which again, if you don't know what that is, it's just a filter on TikTok that people use to sense movement and heat in a room. A lot of people use it for paranormal investigations. She starts using it in the house and getting all this feedback from it, and people in the comments are saying they see a man. She's saying that she saw a man with a top hat, and then later she posts some screenshots that she found of this supposed man in the top hat that she saw in this video. And I don't know, the ripple effect seems like it's set up for you specifically to find stuff. I feel like it's always working, and it's also just not convincing evidence. It feels more like she just really wants to find something there, and so she found something, because you can find a pattern in anything. And then being influenced by people in the comments saying that they're seeing things, that also is not very convincing for me. Then we start getting footage of her in the family RV that's on the property. And she explained that she started sleeping in the RV at night because she refuses to sleep in the house at night anymore because she was getting so scared of all the things that she was experiencing. Her sister comes up and is visiting her when she can so that she's not alone, but of course she can't stay forever. But there is real footage of her at night in the RV. It does seem like she really did move out of the house. So whatever's going on, she truly does feel it or believe it. And then there's something really important to note around this time. She gets footage of the house at night when her sister is going to get the cats and they're talking. And then people in the comments are saying that they see this dark figure in one of the windows after she posted this video. I took a screenshot as best I could of this because I couldn't really see it in the nighttime footage, but I changed the brightness and the exposure of the photo. There is actually something in that window that does look like a big dark figure that doesn't match the rest of the windows, if that makes sense. It doesn't match the background of the rest of the photos. It does look like something's there. She does later show footage of the house in the daytime to show us that there's nothing behind those windows. There's no objects in the way, so it couldn't really be that, and that room is always empty when we've seen other footage. One of her followers also sent her a screenshot of that same video, and they actually found something up in the upper windows, and that's not even where I was looking, and they thought they saw a figure up there. I'll show you a picture of it. So that in general is, I would say, interesting at the very least. She also shows us the aftermath of some things like books falling off of a bookshelf and a picture that had fallen off the wall. And at least we know that this is not an alternate reality game because it's not like there's these crazy things happening that they seem to be faking. They don't conveniently have their cameras out when things happen. None of this is on video. We just kind of have to take her word for it that this happened. But that at least means that she's not trying to make stuff up to make a more interesting TikTok. Another reason I'm pretty sure it's not any kind of alternate reality game is that she shows really mundane clips every now and then in between stuff that's completely irrelevant to the paranormal activity of the house and just random life things. So she's just a normal person, and whatever's happening here, she seems to really believe it. She has an entire TikTok clip of her finding a snake in the house. And then she also reports later, though she couldn't get it on camera, that she found a black bird on one of the windowsills. And people in the comments are saying how bad of an omen that could be. And to me, that just seems like she lives in nature. But I guess those things collectively, if you are a really strong believer, could be some sort of bad omen. It kind of goes on from there. Nothing super notable for quite a while. She finds, other people sending her screenshots, more just random footage. Her cats seem to be acting weird, but cats are always acting weird. She set up an auto write, which is like just setting up a piece of paper and a pen that somebody had told her to do, because if there are spirits in the house, that maybe they'll write some sort of sign on the paper. Then later she shows nothing's written there, which again is a good sign that she's not faking all this stuff that nothing happens with the paper, at least not at this point. She does start showing examples of her asking seemingly random people if they have felt stuff in her house or their houses. For example, an inspector came to the house and he said that he felt something.
And as soon as he walked in, he sensed something.
Yeah, as soon as I said something, there was something behind her that I felt, and we both had cold chills at the same time.
She also videotapes her going up to several different neighbors that are close and in the neighborhood and asking them what they've experienced. And those seem pretty realistic as well. They're all saying about the experiences they've had, and it's not even in her house. And so those were also just interesting footage. Again, it could also be set up, but it didn't really seem like it to me. It seemed like there was a random lady with her dog that she stopped while they were taking a walk. So I don't know how she would collectively get that many people to talk about it, but who knows. So then she finally tells us the history of the house. Basically why she thinks it's haunted. It is interesting because at the beginning of all this, she wrote on one of her TikToks that this house was built in 1860. But then later, several times now, she's been saying that it was built in 1893.
So the person that had the house built in 1893,
maybe she just didn't have the year correct before, so that's not that weird. And then she corrected it as it went on, but it was just notable to me. Here's the history of the house that she talks about. She says the house has had 14 previous owners, and everything she knows is from one of the neighbors that told the story to her. So in 1893, the man that had the house built was one of the richest men in Illinois. She said that he was even responsible for bringing the railroad through Illinois. Pause. I looked into every part of her story because I could pretty much Google everything she said, and boy, did I spend a lot of time. I spent hours trying to validate this story. So this is just the first part of the story. It doesn't seem plausible that this man was responsible for bringing the railroad through Illinois. Here's why. Let me just read this quick thing from Wikipedia for you. So as you can see, the Illinois Central Railroad is this blue stuff that's all the way through, and then the Chicago Central goes through here. The Illinois Central was chartered by the Illinois General Assembly on February 10th, 1851. Senator Stephen A. Douglas and later President Abraham Lincoln were both Illinois Central men who lobbied for it. Douglas owned land near the terminal in Chicago. Lincoln was a lawyer for the railroad. Illinois legislators appointed Samuel D. Lockwood, recently retired from Illinois Supreme Court, as a trustee on the new railroads board to guard the public's interests. Lockwood, who would serve more than 2 decades until his death, had overseen federal land monies shortly after Illinois statehood, then helped oversee early construction of the recently completed Illinois and Michigan Canal. I did also look up the different men, other than President Lincoln, of course. He did not build her house, and none of the dates matched up. So unless I totally misunderstood what she was talking about, the railroad was built long before the house was, and it just does not seem like a plausible story. I feel like we would be able to find who this guy was that brought the railroad into Illinois, unless I'm completely misunderstanding what she's talking about. The reason she thinks it's haunted is that after this guy built the house, a family moved in and the husband was a botanist. So the first part of this story, she says that he was responsible for inventing the black orchid. There's lots and lots of species of orchids in general. There's also a ton of species of black orchids, so this is almost impossible to verify. I looked and looked, and this one, I am disappointed in myself to say I could not find solid proof that the black orchid was invented by anyone in particular, so that part I can't really verify. Anyway, she says that this guy came home one night. He was a very violent alcoholic and would abuse his children and his wife. She said that he came home one night and he was super drunk. He forced his family into the car and they got in a drunk driving accident and the whole family was killed. He survived the accident, but he came back and hung himself in the attic of the house. And that's why she thinks it's haunted, and that's who she thinks it is. This part is also absolutely not true. I don't know if the neighbor just got this part of the story wrong or if they just don't know the true history of the house, but this seems to just be a rumor that manifests itself over time. Because first of all, if the house was built in 1893, that means this family probably moved in around the turn of the century. We don't know exactly how long the original builder of the house lived there, but I'm gonna guess anywhere from 1895 to 1920, let's say. First of all, here's what a car looks like at the turn of the century. Second of all, the first person in the United States to die in a car accident was a man named Henry Bliss in 1899. There is no other fatal car accidents listed for notable car accidents in the United States all throughout 1920. And these are notable crashes. I feel like an entire family being slain by the husband would have been notable enough to put on this list from Wikipedia. Granted, it's just Wikipedia, but I feel like that would be notable enough that I'd be able to find it somewhere. All I'm saying is that the likelihood of an entire family being involved in a drunk car accident that long ago is not super likely. And even if it happened, we'd be able to easily find the news story on that. There weren't a lot of cars on the road back then. Maybe he really did kill his whole family. Maybe he really did die from suicide in the house. That part is all possible, but all of that together just doesn't quite add up to that story making any sense. Back to her story. So she shows this really weird bruise on her leg, which I think can also be explained in many other ways. You could have run into something and forgot. I have mystery bruises on my body all the time from running into stuff and forgetting about it. That one's just not convincing to me. She did have real paranormal investigators come to the house. We know they're real because in the comments, she told people exactly what company it was from Illinois. They forgot a lot of their equipment, and then later they just pretty much were not cool people.
But they spent an hour talking about themselves when they first got here.
But you can look them up, and so we do know that she actually hired paranormal investigators to come and look at the house, which does pretty much proves that this is A, not an ARG, and B, whether it's true or not, she is legitimately scared and legitimately believes in it. She puts flour down in the house upon request from one of the followers, and nothing's really come out of this yet. She explains that she didn't see any footprints or anything that happened in the flour, which again is good. She's not fabricating proof and making stuff up just to get views. Things then start to get worse. She started staying at a friend's house as much as she could. She starts staying in a hotel when she can, and things are just getting worse. Now she thinks that this spirit is not attached to the house, but has actually attached to her because she feels like it is following her because it doesn't stop when she leaves. She does say that it's a lot worse when she's at the house, so that's why she continues to go sleep elsewhere. And then this creepy clip happens.
It just yanked it back open. I'm like not even gonna with that.
It just yanked it back open. I'm like not even gonna with that.
This one is the most upsetting to me over everything else that has happened in her TikTok. It could be edited, maybe, but she doesn't seem to notice it until after she posted it and filmed it. And I don't know how to explain this one. It is a pretty dark shadow behind her, and it doesn't look like a shadow from something else. It doesn't look like her shadow. I cannot explain this one. That is creepy. If I had taken a video and I saw that after I posted the video, I would pee my pants. She has another clip seeing this smoky mass appear, and I actually do kind of see this on the video, and she said it's even more prominent in real life, so also explainable, but it does kind of look a little creepy to me. Again, if I had seen that, I don't normally see masses just in front of me. So that's kind of where we're at now. She is posting frequently, so I'm sure there's going to be many updates on this. Here are my final conclusions about this account. First of all, there's this crazy thing called pareidolia, and it's a psychological phenomenon where people tend to see patterns, especially faces, in random objects or stimuli. If she believes that this is truly happening around her, of course she's going to start seeing faces and things, and every tiny thing that happens to her, instead of an explanation, she's gonna attribute it to the house being haunted. So I think that exaggerates a lot of this stuff. And then we also have confirmation bias, which the definition is the tendency to interpret new evidence as confirmations of one's existing beliefs or theories. So again, since she believes that this is happening in her house, her confirmation bias is going to pick out anything that is going to add to those beliefs. And I think as she gets more and more scared, everything seems to get scarier. She also posts her Cash App user on her account, and her sister made her a GoFundMe to try to help her get out, quote unquote, out of the scary situation. This rubbed me the wrong way. It just seems, I don't know, that just raises a red flag for me because I'm just remembering the motivation behind this stuff. People are subscribing to see the paranormal content. It's just something to keep in mind as you watch her videos. Final thoughts, if ghosts do exist, she does have a pretty good case. It's clearly not an ARG, and she doesn't seem to be overly setting stuff up or fabricating things or making things, you know, like the flour and the paper. She's not writing random stuff and trying to convince us that a ghost did it. So I appreciate that. However, it all does seem overall a little exaggerated. If you strip away all the really explainable things, such as anything on the ripple effect, any of the orbs, and the faces that she keeps kind of forming in these pictures, if you strip all that away, what you're left with is a few pieces of pretty convincing evidence, such as the hair moving, the figure behind her, the black mass in the window. And you probably at worst have a pretty non-threatening ghost, and at best, literally all of this is in their heads and it can all be explained. But if it is a ghost, I don't think it's following her. I think that part is in her head, and it doesn't seem to be super dangerous because I think something really bad would have happened by now. If you made it this far in the video, I know it's probably going to be a long one, so thank you very much for making it this far. I do have to say I hit 100 subscribers last week, and I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but to me, it's a huge deal. I don't want subscribers to feel like they're just numbers to me. I know that's hard because as you grow, you can't know every single person individually, but I just want you guys to know that I definitely, every time I get a new subscriber, I think of the person that actually made the conscious decision to click that subscribe button on my channel, and that a real person did that, and that real individuals are doing that. Because my goal of this channel is to make a community of people that like weird and disturbing things. Call us freaks if you want, but there it is. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you.